Hey everybody, it's Kim. Welcome back to a brief on grief. um, so last time we talked a little bit, well, the last two videos, a little bit more about grief and loss and the different losses that actually occur in our life that can cause grief. But do you ever wonder why it's so painful for us to lose things and the emotions that come with it? A big reason why we do struggle so much as human beings with loss and grief is that we're actually super ill prepared on how to deal with it. We we receive a lot of education in our life about do how to do first aid, for example, or how to call 911, or what to do when somebody breaks an arm or breaks a leg, or we're taught some of these practical skills and have classes about this stuff when we're young in school. But how many classes did you take on how to deal with loss and the emotions that come with that? It's very interesting. And when you think of how prevalent loss is in our lives, it's it's very apparent to see that we were not taught what we need to do to process this stuff properly. We're taught a lot in life about how to acquire things to make us happy. So, like the perfect relationship, the perfect job, house, car, the nicest smelling shampoo or lip gloss, the smartest looking suit. But we're not taught how to process the emotions that come with when we lose these things. And I just think that's super interesting because when you think about it, loss is inevitable. Like, we're inevitably going to lose several things in our life. And when we're not taught the skills to deal with the emotions that come up with that, no wonder we struggle, right? Most of us learned, like, the things that we did learn and the messages that we got about how to deal with loss and grief. Unfortunately, a lot of them are invalidating or just incorrect, and they're just really not helpful or healthy for healthy processing of the feelings. So, some of these statements are probably going to resonate with you, maybe not recognize. You've heard some of these statements. So, how many of you heard things like you have to move on, or time will heal, you'll be okay? Or make sure you don't burden people with your feelings too much. Maybe go into your room and process things, and then when you feel better, come out and be with us, or come out and we can talk to you when you feel better. Or a very popular saying that most of you guys can probably fill in the blank at the end to this. Laugh and the world laughs with you. Cry and you cry alone. I mean, that statement like sums up how ill-equipped we are and what we've been taught throughout our lives about those uncomfortable feelings that come up when we're dealing with loss. And that's super invalidating and really does stunt our ability to accept emotions like that come up and to move through them. We're more likely to isolate ourselves and resist feeling these emotions because they're too painful and because we don't know what to do with them. We may, if we get brave enough to reach out to people to ask for help and support, these same people have been taught the same messages that we've been taught. So the advice that they give come along the lines of those statements that I just shared. Because we're taught this, we don't know how to support ourselves and how to help ourselves, and we don't know how to help others properly either. So I think it's just, this is part of the program that was so profound for me. I'll remind you, it was that grief recovery program that I started last summer. It was the main inspiration, and some of these messages about grief and loss and how we have not been educated to deal with it properly. These are the most profound messages that resonated with me and thought, wow, no kidding, was why we suffer so much. This is why I'm so compelled to kind of share these messages with people. Because when I learned about this stuff, it helps bring a little bit more understanding and compassion to the feelings that do come up for me, and really help identify that a lot of a lot of emotions that do come up, those ones that are not fun to feel, a lot of them are linked to loss. And when you have that awareness, you I don't know, in me, it automatically allowed myself to allow it more. To be more aware, recognize, allow it. And that's key for moving through emotions, is to actually accept and allow them to be there, and then be able to move through them. But if you're being told by yourself, from what you've learned, or by other people that care about you around you, these myths like be alone and settle it and then come to us, or don't worry, time will fix it, you don't have to worry about it, or you'll be okay, you're better off, all these intellectual statements, but they don't actually address to the heart the emotion that you're suffering. So yeah, so I think we'll end there for today. Next video is I'm definitely going to jump into the six most, that's a tongue twister, the 6 most popular myths about grief. And that it'll really outline a lot of things, and it's going to just be super familiar in your heart and your brain when you realize, wow, yes, I've been told all of these at some point in my life, and they have not been helpful. So we'll talk again next time. Be well. Bye.